Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to.
Hello, all right again. All right, welcome back one more time with yours truly, the counselor, Mr. James Horton. Welcome back to another lesson and another blessing. Right, today's group class is going to be called the Domestic No-Fly Zone. Right, no-fly zone. It's called the Domestic No-Fly Zone. And before we get started, I would like to invite you all to check into my YouTube channel. It's called Domestic Violence with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton. You can read it on the front of this here desk here. I keep it posted there so you can see, just in case you want to get every word right to be able to go on to the right site. Okay, this paper is going to be called the Domestic No-Fly Zone. The Domestic Fly Zone, as I designed this paper, it's like those warnings you get from mama and them and from daddy and them. Those of us that got daddy and them at the house, right? It's the warning signs that say, don't be like your father, right? Don't be like them dudes your father hung with that, tore your daddy's life up. Your daddy got all on them drugs and things like that. Don't be hanging out with them dudes like that. Even your father's friends' kids, don't hang out with them misfits and those so-and-so people. And don't hang out with them gangs and them undesirables. People give you signs and warning signs about the no-fly zone. And don't go over to those neighborhoods, right? Like, don't go downtown, where they've been shooting at every weekend, right, in the Oakland City, right? Don't go down there because it's dangerous to go down there, the no-fly zone. But many times when we get warned about the no-fly zone, we seem to fly anyway into those zones. So I just want to give you some briefing on that. The other thing that the no-fly zone talks about is relationships, about relationship partners and our choices. The no-fly zone, people like see you at the club or something. They say, hey, you want to go with me? And then you be foolish and say, yeah, I want to go to the no-fly zone. You don't know the person's name. You don't know their nickname. You don't know much about them at all. All you know is they driving a nice car or something like that. Or they look good on the outside, whether male or female, right? These are the no-fly zones. Check people out before you fly into those areas like that with people, right? And go in those places that you might not come back, right? Okay. Now this says the Domestic No-Fly Zone, right? It's called the Domestic No-Fly Zone. It says, what is and how does one define a domestic no-fly zone? No-fly zones are usually areas where military planes are not allowed to fly in during conflict or war. Domestic no-fly zones are the zones we need not fly into in most intimate or non-intimate relationships with people. No-fly zones can appear small but can be as big as saying the wrong thing, smoking Gorilla Glue, crystal meth, or crack. No-fly zones can involve the company you keep, the places you go, and the people you meet. Ask yourself questions, all right? Ask yourself questions. It says, no-fly zone. Are you known to fly into no-fly zone? Are you known to fly into no-fly zones when it comes to people you meet and the people you seek to defeat? Right? Are you known to just go in there and your reasoning for going into those zones is to try to defeat somebody, right? Some people go into battle, go into neighborhoods they should not go into, go into other people's turfs and all that kind of stuff. Violations after violations, right? And these are the no-fly zones, right? And you should know better to put yourself in danger unless you're just trying to commit suicide, right? They got the no-fly zones where, you just shouldn't go there, right? You keep going to the same spot, stuff keep happening over at that spot, that area. Hey, these are no-fly zones. All right, number 2. Domestic no-fly zone. Are you known to always be going where you're watching, or are you watching where you're going in most domestic no-fly zones? Are you known to be going where you're watching, or are you paying attention to be watching where you're going when you're entering these no-fly zones, or you're thinking about going to these no-fly zones? If you're paying attention, and if you are watching where you're going, you won't go there at all. You let somebody else go. You say, hey, not for me. You know, and it's okay to say not for me. It's okay to not go into a zone, jumping into a car because somebody say, hey man, you from here, you stay in the neighborhood, or you grew up in the neighborhood, or your parents grew up in the neighborhood, so you know, you letting people label you, telling you to get into a car to go on some ignorant drive-by or something, some ignorant something, right? And you got yourself in a world of trouble because you had entered a no-fly zone. Speak up for yourself. Don't go for that, young people. All right. Number 3, domestic no-fly zones. Are you known to always fly into wrong places at the wrong time? Or do you fly into all the right places at the right time? Right? What kind of person are you? Right? I mean, it's not all that hard to do. You know, it's not hard to write you a script, you know, that's not negative. You can write you a script that's positive and go into fly zones that are positive, right? That maybe your friend said was no-fly zones, and we don't go over there because the square people hang over there. We don't go to those churches because church is not for us, right? Don't got to listen to that. You know, do the opposite, right? Because if you get in all this trouble over here, you might want to go into one of those, what the streets say is a no-fly zone. Go to church, become a member even. And you don't got to necessarily become a member, just connect with God. You know, start you a new relationship, you know, with the posse of God and his people, right? Okay, number 4, the best in no-fly zone. Do you believe most of your fly zones keep you protected, or you believe they keep you infected? Domestic no-fly zone. Do you believe most of your no-fly zones keep you protected, or do you believe they keep you infected? Right? Now, when you have a host of problems, when you have a host of putting yourself in situations where you might, it might be scary to even come out the house. When you have a host of people running your mind and telling you what to do, and you find yourself making all kind of faulty decisions because you've gone in these zones over and over again and become part of what the zone is, right? These no-fly zones, right? If you find yourself doing that, you know, you must ask yourself, do you look at this thing as being protected, or do you look at it as being infected? And I'm assuming that most likely, even through my experience, a lot of these zones are infectious zones, right? You get infected, right? And it stops you from moving in the place you need to move to, all right? Now, number 5. Domestic no-fly zone. When it comes to the zones you're known to fly and the zones you're known to deny, do you feel your zones stop you or block you from flying to your highest potential in life, right? Do you feel that these people, man, these zoned out people, these zoned out spots, are they blocking you and stopping you from reaching your highest potential in life? You know, these are important questions, man. You know, yeah, I keep coming back, keep going up in your head, making you think, right? I mean, they had a thing on TV, and I've read it in some other places, and I've been in classes and colleges, and I've heard things about the brain, about not using it, or only using a small portion of the brain, right? Especially us males. They say males just use like one side of the brain. They say most women use both sides of the brain. So, you know, if we only using a little bit, and most of us are only using a little bit, but the woman got two sides and we only got one side, just think how slow we are as supposedly as the supposed leader in the household. that's pretty bad. You know, that's why I've been looking for some friends with a little more sense, you know, so I can elevate my game up. I don't know about you guys, you know. So, number 6, domestic no-fly zone. In and within your upbringing, were you taught to self-deny or were you taught to not fly when it comes to standing up for yourself, right? Domestic no-fly zone. In and within your upbringing, your raising, were you taught to self-deny yourself or were you taught not to fly when it comes to standing up for yourself? Stuff happens, man. And I know and I believe in the rule of respect your elders. I really do. And I'm disgusted on a lot of young people not respecting the elders. But there are some elders that are at a place. I'm not saying a big group, you know, and I hope it don't get any bigger than it is. But there are some people that are of age, of a certain age, and they've been very trifling and disrespected themselves to the young people. They've taken the trust that was given to them to watch over these young people, and they've done some wrongs, right? And there are times when people are just all the way out there speaking. Here's a person trying to give respect, and here's an elderly person or older person totally disrespecting the young people, totally stepping out of line with the young people, taking the young people in a zone that they're not ready for, sexual behaviors and all kind of ugly stuff that jumps off. So this is some things that I could, so you got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand up sometime, and I've had to stand up too. I have to put all that to the side. I can't just sit there, and you can't just sit there and let somebody just run all the way over you. You got to do something. Call somebody even if you have to. Call the police if you have to. Whatever the case, man. If you're a child or you just don't let somebody run over you because of age, right? And you don't do the fool all the way either if you can think your way through it. Just make the right decision, right? Number 7, domestic no-fly zone. Are you known to buy before you fly, or are you known to fly before you buy into new potential problem relationships? Domestic no-fly zone. Are you known to buy before you fly, or are you known to fly before you buy into new potential problem relationships? Example of that is like it can be the club, right? You see somebody, right? Or you see somebody at the end of the club. Y'all don't really get to speak, but they looking good, you looking good, right? And then, all of a sudden you say, she's the one. The girl say, he's the one, right? And so here it is, right? You calling up, hey, I'm going to take you to so-and-so, so-and-so, very expensive restaurant. Oh, I bought, boom, I'm going to take you shopping tomorrow. Now, you want to find out what the person's name is before you go on and buy, right? And even before you go on and fly, right? You want to know some things about them. You might want to ask them to pull their ID out, take a picture of it even. Because a lot of times you're starting off with these people, and the first thing you do is give them a title, give them a name. Boo, hey, what's up, boo? Right? That kind of stuff, right? And you really messing with strangers, right? And so, you don't want to invest your whole self in. And one of the other things and other examples I've discussed even in relationships is that you don't want to give all your goods up and all your valuables up and all your money up into a new investment. Take some time and also, even if some time goes by, save something for emergencies, right? Don't always say, oh, hey, guess what? I got $10,000 in the bank, right? And don't do that, right? Don't do that, right? Don't be in such a hurry to hand your bank card over to somebody with your PIN number, right? Save something for later for yourself, just in case the thing go all bad. Just in case when you start flying, your plane goes down and crashes, right? And you are able to recover from it, but you're going to have a harder recovery if you don't save something to the side for yourself. Save some of you to the side for yourself. Keep a part of you safe, right? Just in case. You know, you have plane problems, engine problems. You know, get low on fuel or something in your plane, right? Okay? Number 8, domestic no-fly zone. It says, domestic no-fly zone. Does your no-fly zones keep you stuck or stop you from moving forward in most tired, expired, retired relationships? Domestic no-fly zone. Does your no-fly zones keep you stuck or stop you from moving forward from most tired, expired, retired relationships? Right? Do they just keep you like, man, you can't even move? Do they got you in a place like, even if you 40, 50, 60, 70, you know, does it have you like you can't go on without them? That you might as well stay stuck here and just die miserable? Does those zones have you like that? Where your wings are not working no more. You can't fly no more. You know, your plane is in a retirement home or something. Do you feel like that? Hopefully not. Hopefully not, right? Hopefully you can get you something, take you a vitamin, something, say you some special prayers, grab a hold of God again, and get moving. You don't have to stay there, retired and expired. Don't let anybody ever tell you that. You ain't retired. It ain't over till it's over, you know? And when it happens for you, it's going to be right on time, right? Okay, number 9. We're going to close this out. To the domestic no-fly zone drive-by gangster. Did you know if you personally or intentionally discharge a firearm in an inhabited dwelling, store, car, or house, which causes great bodily injury or death to another person, while violating a no-fly zone rule, you can automatically receive a sentence of 25 years to life or more. Now, people are so confused with the law. I learned a lot when I was on another side and on another street in my life. The no-fly zone, I mean the violations, the life sentences of what I was trying to say. When you catch a life sentence, 25 to life is a long time. But 25 to life is different from 25 years in prison. 25 years in prison has a percentage. There's a chance you can get out early. You will get out early if you don't get in a lot of trouble. And you don't catch no more time when you're in jail. But 25 years is just as bad as 6 years to life. Because 6 years to life, I've known and I've even learned from others that you can be in prison for 50 or 60 years on a 6 year to life sentence. Why? Because the L, what it stands for is we're taking your life away from you. We're taking your life away from you. So when you plead to something, when you plead to 7 years to life, you're foolishly pleading because you'll never come home. Possibly never come home. So be careful when you go around doing these drive-bys, when you're going around these ride-bys, these walk-bys, whatever you're doing with these weapons, right? Taking the power or believing you have the power of God. Be very careful because it's a lot different than the days back in the day, right? Now, everybody has cameras. The store has cameras inside the store, outside the store. People are on their phones with cameras at all times. They look like they're texting somebody, but they have their phone on. They have nothing to do. This is the excitement of the 21st or whatever century, 2021 century. This is the excitement to always film. To feel like you're in Hollywood or something. Feel like you a movie producer or something, a filmer or something. So people are always got cameras on. So you think nobody's watching, but we always ask, who are you when nobody's watching? Well, somebody is always watching. And so be careful. Stop being so ignorant and violent towards others. Love life, love your people. Let's put the guns down, right? Let's put the guns on and stop going into those no-fly zones. All right, that's going to be it for yours truly, the council, Mr. James Horton. Thank you for attending my group. All right, y'all. I'm here with my partner.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah.
My name is Too Short. This is my nigga James Horton from fucking high school. That was damn near 30, 40 years ago, long time ago. It's my guy right here. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel.
That's Domestic Violence with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton on YouTube. Thank you.